Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the June meeting of the Farmville Board of Commissioners. We appreciate you taking this opportunity to join us this evening. This evening, we're pleased to have with us Reverend Kevin Dybert. Kevin is the pastor of the First Christian Church, Disciples of Christ here in Farmville, and he's going to come and lead us in our invocation. Will you all rise, please? After which, I ask you to join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us see with humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your creation deserves. And finally, gracious God, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Slide it up just a little bit. All right, again, I have the privilege of welcoming you to the Board of Commissioners meeting tonight. We're glad you came, and if you did, make yourself available to the agenda we have at the beginning, at the end of the room here. We would appreciate it if you take it, and that way you can follow along with what we're doing. If you did get one, you'll see now we're at citizen presentation, and that's where we ask you to where you can address this board about anything that concerns you. We do ask you that you sign up before the meeting, and so we'll have a record of who you are and what you want to talk to us about. First, we have Sophie Sankamik. Sorry about that, Sophie.
It is fine.
You're like a phonetic.
Yeah, just Sophie.
All right, and she wants to talk to us about animal services.
Mr. Mayor, I'm glad to see you here.
Thank you,
We missed
Sophie.
you, and I would like to thank the commissioners, especially Commissioner Elks, Chief Green, Major Spencer, got it, and Mr. Hodgkins, who met with me to answer some of my questions about animal services since there is the part-time position in the budget. I learned a lot about what services are currently provided here, what is being done, how it's done, and it kind of made me pause and think, because I am a pet owner. If I didn't know some of these things that are going on, and I try to be reasonably well informed, there's probably a whole lot of people who don't know what's going on. So I think, Chief Green, you said that we want animal services to be a proactive rather than a reactive resource, which is fabulous to hear. I would like to see a strategic plan for animal services. Most municipalities that have any kind of services provided at least have a roadmap. I know that's never written in really permanent ink, but I think it would be nice to see for this town, since this is a big step forward from where we have been with animal services. I also think that sharing information and transparency in pretty much everything related to that would be awesome for a lot of reasons. I think that citizens should be able to see how our town operates the animal services that we provide. I think that would increase the trust in the animal services that are provided, because people say things that they don't know about, but if it's written there, then it's hard to argue with. I think by the same token, it'll decrease rumors if we have data. I think it'll show areas for improvement. Once we have things that we're doing, then perhaps things will come to light that maybe we should do more or better or different. And I think it'll also inform citizens of their responsibilities. If you don't know what you should provide or what you should do, and I know ignorance is a really crummy excuse, but if it's all there somewhere for people to see, they can't even claim that. So I would like to see an update to the statutes that are posted on our website. I think the last date that it says they're current through 11/6 of 2012. I mean, I looked them up. I can't be the only one, but if those aren't current and correct, then I think it'd be super if they were. I also would like to see animal services included in our website, because our website's really good and it's beautiful. And since we're adding some things, and I am no website guru by any means, but if we could put down what services we provide. I didn't know that we have a microchip scanner that they use if they find pets here in town. I mean, like, that's amazing and good. I think that it would be awesome if on the website we posted a link to a Found Pets website. I know other local municipalities use Pet Tango. And then they post their statistics on the website, which I think is also really important. How many found animals do we have in town and what happens to them? Because those numbers should get better and better if the services that are provided are actually effective. And I'd also like to see a citizen advisory board for animal services, because I think citizen input's going to be really important. And I'm excited for the future of animal services in Farmville. I think that eventually maybe educational opportunities could be afforded, maybe a Facebook page. I mean, I just see a lot of really awesome things that could come out of this. And I'd like to thank you for your consideration in including that in the budget. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. You'll be hearing from us. Next is Stephen Hardy-Bras, talking about sidewalks.
Good evening, staff. This morning I addressed the Pitt County Commissioners and reminded them of several years ago, like you all in other towns in our county. Several years ago, when the Department of Health for our county got a CDC grant to improve the built environment, to reduce obesity, to improve general health and accessibility, increase the safety of our area, we all passed a resolution saying that we would always consider this. Pitt County continues to fail to do this. I addressed them this morning because when NCDOT is building some sidewalk plans and building some road widening plans in the Greenville area, the city of Greenville announced to pay for some of that, even though it's in county land, because they have stood by their commitment. But I want to remind us that we too made that similar, this board made a similar commitment. Now, since I criticized them, I had to take a good look at what we're doing here in town. And I still feel the similar responsibility to continue to advocate, agitate perhaps, and remind you of the need for accessible, completed, connected sidewalks in our town. I appreciate us spending over $100,000 previously with Farmville funds to connect South Main Street. I think it's been a great enhancement in that part of town to improve the ability of people to get around safely without having to dance in the street or walk through mud every day. I see in our budget that we have $50,000 in sidewalk construction from the Farmville funds that is yet to be spent in this fiscal year. As I look in the calendar, the fiscal year is coming to a close. Now, this is not a criticism of Public Works or Wes and his team. I'm sure they're working on things, but I just felt if I didn't say something, it'd be negligent. I, too, like Sophie, would like to get more involved in politics and to help out with the town because I care about the people here and I care about our town. So I think there are volunteers, but I'm out there walking with people. Some of your parents, some of your relatives, some of you are out walking, strolling, jogging, biking, what have you. And we could do a lot more to improve our town. So I think a Citizens Advisory Council, people that want to volunteer, help clean these, whatever, we can capitalize on this. So again, I'm not trying to be critical of individuals. I know people are working on this. I know there are some plans for your planning retreat. But I'd just like to remind people that we are doing things and there's still more to do. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Steve. And next is Brad Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor. Good to see you. Commissioners, thank you all for having me this evening. I want to take an opportunity to thank the board for supporting academic excellence at Farmville Central High School. Those who may not know, the town helps contribute money to support monetary awards for students who have the highest academic average for each grade level. So the town helps support that along with several local businesses. And just want to take the opportunity again to thank you for doing that. Be happy to answer any questions you might have. I'm sure you might have some questions about what academic excellence looks like at Farmville Central, but I'll do my best to answer them if I can.
Anybody? I saw, excuse me, Brandon, go ahead. I saw where we again had a good mark in scholarship opportunities for our seniors, and I congratulate you for that.
Still growing.
Yeah.
It's updated since that point. Some people.
I can recall the first time we started paying attention to it, our senior class received $85,000.
Yes.
85,000 to what,
We have
6.9? Yeah.
Several students who have exceeded that
Yeah.
individually at this point. So,
Well, we're proud of you.
opportunities out there for them, and we hope that for parents and community members alike to see where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
If you have the grades, there's nothing that's going to prevent you from pursuing further education if you want to. The financial aspect is not a roadblock.
Yeah.
There are plenty of opportunities out there. You just have to seek them.
Good. All right, Brenda.
And I'd like to tell you about a compliment I received on
boy.
you
Okay.
that I was told about the other night. A family is looking to bring their child from either homeschooling or charter school, and so they went to another high school and also came to Farmville Central. And when they went to the first high school, as the principal or whoever was showing them around, all the kids avoided him. Nobody would speak. He didn't speak to anyone down the halls. And when they came to Farmville Central and you took them around, you spoke to every child you saw, and people were, "Hey, Mr. Johnston."
Oh, yeah.
"How are you, Mr. Johnston?" And I think that says a great deal about what you're doing at Farmville Central.
I appreciate
And I
that.
appreciate that.
We wouldn't have it any other way. If I can't call a kid's name, I'm gonna find out their name pretty quick and make sure
Well,
that next time we see them, we can definitely say hello to them and hopefully know a little bit about them.
It made me feel really good to know that those compliments, and I wasn't the first person they told, so
Good. Good.
these people were actually repeating it
Very
to
good.
me, so I really appreciate what you're doing at school.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions that you'd like to know? I don't know all the numbers off the top of my head, but I can tell you a little bit of the numbers if you need to know
Okay.
where we're at. I can tell you we had about 205 kids who had a 3.5 or higher grade point average this school year. That is a pretty consistent number over the last 3 or 4 years. What's impressive to me, if you haven't heard, the GPA quality points for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders has been reduced. So the fact that we still had the number of children achieve a 3.5 or higher is actually pretty surprising to me. The current senior class gets an additional 2 quality points for an advanced placement or AP course, and then 1 additional quality point for honors. 9th, 10th, 11th graders only get 0.5 additional quality points for an honors and 1 quality point for an AP or college course. So the fact that you have kids who previously would get 6 quality points now can only get 5 as the highest amount, and you still had over 200 students out of approximately 730 kids. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Scholarship numbers look great, and we're anticipating that number will continue to grow a little bit more as we get towards graduation. We got about 1 more week
Yeah.
to turn
Saturday.
stuff in.
So
When is
we're-
it?
Counting down the days.
Financially, where are we now?
Last count, sometime at lunch today, just under 7.5 million offered
Wow.
scholarships. So at academic awards, we were at about 6.92, I think, was the number at academic awards. And so we've had several scholarships that were announced since that point, and then some students who, for whatever reason, hadn't turned anything in at that point, and then they realized, oh, I might better turn this in, or my mom and dad might be upset with me if I don't get recognized. So we've had a few more turn in information, but that number I would anticipate will grow just a little bit more by the time graduation gets here.
That's good.
Okay, you're doing a good job, Brad, and we appreciate it.
Thank y'all. Again, thank y'all for the financial support. We appreciate that, and we want to make sure everyone in the community knows, hey, we're doing things to help support
Yeah.
the schools, and we appreciate that.
Thank
y'all.
you, thank you. Following on Brad's report, I just want to share with you, a packet to the town of Farmville commissioners from Sam Bundy, 4th and 5th grade students. And I'm assuming this is because of the support we're giving in the budget for the Avid. We'll not go through all of those, but I want you to see what those kids, they wrote a lot of cards thanking this board for what they did to provide education for them. I'm going to leave them up here if anyone wants just to pull out some and look at them, even you. If you want to pull out and look at them after the meeting, that would be fine. Also, as we continue citizen presentation, I want to welcome those who are joining us by way of video. This is the first time, I missed that a while ago, this is the first time that I've been here that we've done this. I did see some of it last month's meeting, and I don't know when you video, when is it on TV? Tomorrow afternoon. And it comes on in after every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. How often does it come on? Channel 8?
Basically, it runs every 2 hours unless the meeting is longer than 2 hours.
Okay.
Just in cycles it will run.
Okay, all right, well, I appreciate that, and I did want to welcome those folks. Also, I want to express my appreciation for the concerns that have been expressed on my behalf in the last month. I won't lie to you, it's not been an easy month. It's still not 100% yet, but I'm hoping to get there. I've made great strides in the last 2 or 3 days, and tomorrow I'll be subject to some tests that will probably help me even go, or I hope that will help me go even further. But I do appreciate your prayers and your concerns, and I'm glad to be with you tonight, and hope that we can get through this thing all right, all of us together. Thank you. All right, now, if you following along, we're at Town Manager's comments.
Mayor, I have no special comments tonight.
Okay. Financial report that is provided by Ms. Johnson. However, what she does is submit it to us beforehand, and if you have any questions, she will answer them for you. Anyone? All right. In light of no questions, the next is changes, additions, and deletions to the agenda.
There are none, Mayor, that I know.
Okay, there are none. So now we're down to the business portion of our business, and the first one is a zoning ordinance, a public hearing for zoning text amendment to remove Internet Cafe as a special exception, use of highway business district. Who's going to present that?
I'll do that.
Okay.
Mayor, members of the board, this is an amendment that was discussed over a couple meetings at the planning board level regarding internet cafes in town. And for anyone who is unfamiliar with the term, it's basically these gaming establishments where you can go in, pay some amount of money and play games and potentially win prizes. It's construed as gambling by most, but it's still an unsettled area of the law. Some counties, as you travel around North Carolina, you'll see these establishments there in not large numbers, and then other counties you won't see them. So there's a lot of gray area as far as whether they're legal or not. You know, what software is used, which games are not games of chance, and which ones are. But anyway, there was a lot of discussion, and at the last planning board meeting, the town attorney came and gave a report to the board and discussed with them sort of how we got to this point, what's happening in other counties, what's happening in the courts, or what might happen in the courts, things like that. And so after hearing that, the planning board felt like in our ordinance, it's a special exception in only a highway business district. There's certain questions that you have to sort of ask, the board asks itself, things like, you know, the effect on adjacent properties and things like that, which, and several of our planning board members are here, they didn't feel like they could easily assess whether an applicant was meeting those standards, and also just the fact that the law is so unsettled, the planning board felt like the current ordinance came into effect several years back when it was somewhat settled what was okay and what wasn't, and then things have changed during that time, and for a period of time they were clearly illegal. So in an effort to comply with the law, whatever that is, whenever we find out what that is, the planning board recommends that the Board of Commissioners actually take internet cafes out of the zoning ordinance for the time being until the issue is settled by the courts or the General Assembly or whatever. And so what's before you is an ordinance that would delete this as a listed special exception in the highway business district. And as I said, that's the only district that they're allowed in now under any conditions. This would eliminate them as an actually stated special exception. So if you adopt this amendment, we would no longer accept applications for these types of uses. They just wouldn't be listed as a permitted or special exception use. So that sort of summarized, I guess. I think I covered it well enough to just give you a taste of that. So that is the issue at hand.
Does any of the board have a question on what David presented? If not, you see it listed, it is a public hearing, so I'm going to declare this public hearing to be open now, where you can come and address this board about any concerns you have with this amendment. Please come.
One quick question. Do we have any of those businesses now? And if so, what would happen to them?
We have one business in town now. That is part of a special consent order through the court, well, through an agreement we have with that particular business owner. It was part of a lawsuit or a potential suit. And so that particular person is strictly constrained, limited to 4 games, no outside, no advertising, a lot of different things as part of that consent
So it
order.
would just mean no new businesses?
Right, no new businesses, and no expansion of the one that's there. And we actually have we've had lots of interest in it. We actually had a case that went to the Board of Adjustment and was not approved because of the vagueness of the current law, and also just the inability to answer those necessary questions to determine whether it should be granted or not. And then I actually talked to someone this afternoon who was made aware that this issue was coming up to the board, and I said, well, you can come and speak if you'd like. He said, well, just let me know what happens tomorrow. So so there are other, at one time we had 3 of these businesses in town before, basically several years ago when they became illegal, and then they've sort of crept back in some areas of the state. But in Pitt County, I don't believe there are very many of them, not like they used to be anyway.
So given the process, we don't know when they will determine.
I think there's a bill pending now, but I'm not sure if it'll be, I think the short session is getting ready to sort of wrap up, so I don't know that it'll be taken up this year, maybe next year before they.
And in the meantime, this one establishment will continue to operate as they are now. Is that
Right, no expansion, just under and that's under a consent order. It's different from the zoning.
All right. Anyone else want to address this? This is your public hearing. If not, I'll close the public hearing now, and board, I'll ask you for, if you have any questions, any comments, or any motion.
I make a motion, we approve the zoning amendment to eliminate
Okay.
internet cafes, especially exception.
Okay, you've heard the motion by Commissioner Dixon that we approve this amendment. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. The ayes have it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Item 2 is another public hearing, and this is the one that is incumbent on this board to make tonight, or certainly before July the 1st, and it has to do with the budget. And we have a published budget, and there may be some changes to it, so when the board went through it in a workshop and changed or suggested some changes. I'm going to look to Town Manager Hodgkins to bring us up to date on that, and then we'll move on with the budget process.
Okay, Mayor, members of the board, back on May 14th, this board considered the budget. We went through discussed all items in the budget. There were two major changes made by the board. One was the allocation of funds to various outside nonprofit groups. And then the other was allocation of funding for lighting at the new athletic field that's being constructed off of Horn Avenue. So what you have in your packet is it's in sort of a blue and white page. It is a summary of how we basically were able to shift money around or add to or reduce certain line items to allocate funds for the lighting and, of course, amend the amount of money that is in the budget for the outside group. So if you look at this page, I think it's the second page behind tab 2, there are two funds that are affected by this change. One is the general fund and one is the sewer fund. You might ask, what does this have to do with sewer? Well, in order to find money in, we budget very conservatively, area of money that we don't put a lot of contingency in it, I guess, in our budget. So we had to, in essence, reimburse more money from the sewer fund into the general fund to bring funds into the general fund to pay for some of these services. So you see an increase of the transfer from the sewer fund into the general fund of $50,000. We also are appropriating $48,000 in basically our reserves or fund balance. And we typically don't use much fund balance, if any, during the year. So at audit times, a lot of times you'll see, well, we didn't use any fund balance. We appropriate it, assuming that every penny that we budget is spent, and our revenues are budgeted fairly conservatively. So a lot of times we'll over-collect our revenues and we underspend our expenditure side. So we're just trying to make everything balanced now, but we don't anticipate even using that next year. But in order to make it balanced, we have brought $98,000 into the general fund from reserves and from the sewer fund. And then we've also gone through and reduced several line items in various departments to help offset some of that also. So the net effect is there's $98,000 increase in the general fund after you make all these adjustments. And then in the sewer fund, how do we accomplish that? Well, we budgeted our sewer use charges very conservatively, so we've increased that by $40,000. And then as you see, we've adjusted 3 line items in the sewer fund expenditures, reducing those. And then we show this transfer into the general fund. So the sewer fund is increased by $40,000. The general fund's increased by $98,000. And by all those adjustments and transfers, you have your funds for the lighting at the athletic fields, and you also have the allocation that you agreed to for all the outside groups.
Okay. So we've added 138, is that right? 138,000?
That's correct.
And, okay, in order to pay for the lighting at the soccer field and also the adjustments made to the outside nonprofits. Now, that's what the town manager proposes. How about anyone up here on the board that would like to propose an adjustment, amendment? If not, we'll go with these then. What we'll do now is take the published budget, and we will make these changes, or not make them, and then we'll hear from you as a public hearing. All right, Board, these two changes, amendments that Town Manager talked about, is there a motion that we approve these?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Elks has motioned that we approve these two changes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. And the ayes have it, and we now have a new proposed budget, of which I'm going to ask you to speak to us about. Right now, you have your opportunity to come and speak to us in this public hearing. Declare this open at this time for your comments. Anyone please come forward. Seeing there are no comments, I'll declare the public hearing to be closed, and now, Board, it's incumbent on us to adopt this proposed budget for the operating year of 2018-2019. So, if we have a motion.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just for clarification, this motion would be approving the budget ordinance as in your agenda, which reflects all the things you just
Yeah.
approved just now.
But that's the only step we have to take right now.
Yes,
Okay.
just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Those numbers are in the packet.
Right.
Mayor, I'd like to make that motion if I could.
Okay.
With the changes that were in agenda item 3, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the budget ordinance for the year 2018-2019.
All right. You've heard the motion, Board. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Since it's unanimous, we have a spending plan for next year, next fiscal year, beginning in July. I want to thank the Town Manager for his diligent work, along with Finance Director Johnson, and also want to thank this Board for going through it and coming up with a reasonable approach, spending approach to next year.
Mayor, could I ask
Yeah.
just two comments and
Yeah.
a question here? The one by Town Manager. Can you tell us what the fund balance is now, just a ballpark figure? Can you get close?
As a percentage,
Yes, are we at 30?
we're definitely over 30%. Probably more, I would guess, I'm just guessing around 35%.
30, okay, that's good.
Just around.
The other comment I understand from the rescue squad that the money that we earmarked for them, they got from the county, so we didn't have to invest that. They got the $6,500, is that correct?
Right. You mean the additional?
Right, but we didn't have to do it. And also, we allotted, just so the citizens know, that we're one of the few towns, if not the only town in the country, that has 100% support of Meals on Wheels, so our seniors are being fed. And I say that because I want to commend this board on behalf of being willing to support some folks that support us, like the rescue squad needing that generator, and they found all the means, but we were ready to go online for it. And I especially want to thank the board for committing to Meals on Wheels and our commitment to 100%, because this is the second year we've done that. And that speaks volumes across the country for the town of Farmville, and I thank you for taking care of our needy. And even though they asked for a certain amount, we gave more so that we could feed the elderly there. And I really want to commend the town manager on the 30-plus fund balance, because the mayor and I remember when it was 8%. So I salute this board for that. And you folks that are in the gallery tonight, you got a board that you can be proud of for what we've done. There's no tax increase, and we didn't borrow any money, so that's a lot to be said for that. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Moore. I'll just comment a little bit on the Meals on Wheels. It is a great program, and if you ever have the opportunity to participate in it, as we feed more people, it requires more volunteers. So just keep that in mind in case you want to do something. All right, we're down to item I, and These are items for consent, and normally these are items we leave on here and vote them all in at one time, and at this time we have 3 sets of minutes, and also adoption of ordinance awarding the 2017-18 budget ordinance. So, does anyone want any of these items pulled off for discussion? If not, give me a motion for pass these by consent.
I'll make the motion, we pass this by consent.
Okay, motion has been made by Commissioner Elks that we approve these items by consent. All those in favor, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Thank you, ayes have it. All right, we're down to the items for decision, and the first one is from the May Museum. Blacksmithing.
Mayor, Commissioners, first, I'm not asking for a decision tonight on anything. I wanted to pass out a proposal for a potential blacksmithing shop on the grounds of the museum. This has been something that the Friends of the May Museum have been interested in and fundraising for many years, predating me. And last summer, there were blacksmithing classes that were offered at the museum. They were full. There's also a long list of people interested in taking blacksmithing classes this summer that hopefully we will have available. We are interested in doing a blacksmithing shop behind the parking slab that's behind the outdoor kitchen. It would be somewhat of an open-air blacksmithing shop, the backside being completely closed in with an A-frame roof, partial sides, and then the bottom of the sides and the front would be open air. There would be a door with a lock. So when there was not a blacksmith in there working, whether it be with live demos or as an instructional teacher, it would be locked but able to be visible from tours, citizens, visitors to the museum. One side of the blacksmithing shop would be set up as like an original blacksmithing shop that we could utilize during our tours. The other side would be a working blacksmithing lab for instruction and students to take classes in. The Friends are able to completely financially fund this project. We're looking at just feedback from you all and to start the process and see where you as a board stands with this idea.
This has been on y'all's working table how long?
Before I was here, I know at least a year or two.
Are you
They've
talking
been
about a
interested.
permanent structure?
It would be a permanent structure. It would be in keeping with the house and the outdoor kitchen. It would also be built around the trees. No trees would be harmed in the building of the blacksmithing shop. It would be a very natural but appealing looking building. And of course, we would work with Chris Liu, who is the local blacksmith who does the teaching of the classes in the past, to figure out exactly what we would need for that space. And I could, of course, bring that back to the board at a later date.
I'd like to see that.
Yes, sir.
I would. I know y'all are going to make it look like it fits.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but still a permanent structure
Sure.
on those grounds, I think I would. I'm not sure about anybody else.
Sure. We would like to be good stewards for the town property, and we would want to make sure that that you all approve of whatever may be put there.
What else will we need to be involved in if we say yes? I mean, is it going to be any cost?
There would be no financial cost to the town.
Okay. I'm not on board if she said that when she started that she didn't care whether she had an answer tonight or not. Suppose you get us a schematic of what it's going to look like and where, if you could do that. If that's what y'all would like to.
I think that's a good idea.
All right?
We'd
Okay.
like to do that.
Thank you, Lynn.
And I just want to publicly tonight thank the Di Visconti Center, having a nice space like that in Farmville was a wonderful addition to the town, but it also helped the Maine Museum out a lot with our recent garden party. We were able to utilize their space and not cancel our event.
Well, that was good. I'm sorry I wasn't able to go, but I'll tell you, I really enjoy it on the grounds.
Well, I'm glad to see you here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay.
If
Come
there's
back.
any way we do not meet in July, we'll meet for the end of the month in June. Is there any way we can get this and possibly get this on the agenda for August?
Sure. And at the August meeting, you would like a drawing?
I'd like to have it before the August meeting.
Okay.
And I'd like to have it as a decision item in August.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
agree with the board.
With a
Yeah.
drawing and a write-up of exactly
Yeah.
what?
Get that over the next, 6, 7 weeks. before
Absolutely.
we Get it on the agenda. I think
Sure.
we can all look at it during the month of July and do what we
I'll get it to you by the end of June.
So
And
then,
then it'll be up to the mayor to get it on the
Yeah.
agenda, but I think it would be a good idea.
I'll get you the information by the end of June.
okay, then we'll go from glass blowing to horse,
Well, I definitely think it
Horseshoe.
will, it will keep with the
Blacksmith.
honoring the past and shaping the future.
yeah. Okay, you're right.
I also want to commend you again for how great the Market on Main was during the Dogwood Festival. I thought that was quite a great addition to what Amy has gotten all together for us, and I thought that was an excellent addition to the Dogwood Festival.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you very
was.
much.
Yeah, you did a great job with
Thank
that.
Stretched it out, I think, for what, 3 blocks, 4 blocks?
Yeah.
Dogwood Festival. Thank you, Lindsay, you're doing a good job, appreciate it. All right, next is item 6, ordinance closing a portion of Main Street from Belcher. Well, it doesn't say here, but anyway, I think it's from Belcher to Church. Who's going to address? Jay, you going to do that?
Good evening, Mayor Evans and Commissioners. I had a meeting with all the town forces with David and the police department and everything, and we're going to do another Music on Main on June the 19th. It's a Tuesday night, and we're going to put it on the end of Main Street between Wilson and Belcher. And with meeting with the police department, we had to take responsibility of the street, per se, if anything was to happen or anything like that. So I'm thinking David went through everything, talking with the chief, we got everything done. So basically, that's all what this was, is that y'all would agree that we could do this. We've got Jim Quick and the Coastline Band coming. So they will be here. It starts at 6, it's 6 to 9. So we're going, and like I said, we're going to close it and we're going to set it up just like they do at the Dogwood, right there at the intersection of Wilson and Main, and let it go back toward here at Town Hall. We did that for a couple of reasons. One, power is that's the easiest, but also out of respect for the funeral home.
Yeah.
If something's going on or they have a visitation, there's not music going down that.
That's a good
way to
idea.
Interfere. So anyway, that's all we have. If there's
Well,
any questions or anything.
Anybody have any
glad-
questions for Jay? All right. Is there a motion then that we approve this?
I move that we approve holding the Music on Main
Okay,
on June 19, 2018.
okay. Thank you, Commissioner Hobbs. You've heard the motion, Board. Any discussion on this? Any concerns?
I assume that, we're voting in the same motion to close that portion of Main Street.
Yeah.
And to.
Yeah, yeah,
Approving the ordinance in there,
yeah.
in the packet
As stated.
that
in the
closes,
vote.
right, closes the street.
Okay? Everybody clear? Okay, the motion has been made by Commissioner Hobbs. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. And you can see, Jay, you got the support of this board. We appreciate what you do. All right. Agenda item 7 is the SCADA system. Carol, is that you? Now we get technical, right?
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Commissioners. Back in the February board retreat, I came to y'all with a proposal to upgrade our SCADA software, which controls our water system. At the time, I only had one proposal, and they are hard to find because not a lot of people do this type of work. So I dug hard. It took me a few months, but I found another company that can assist us in doing the same thing, probably even a little bit better, at quite a bit savings. You have the information in front of you, and I've discussed this with you. Y'all know all the facts about it, and I think this is something that really needs to be done before we get in trouble. It's a project's going to take about 4 to 6 months, and I'd like to get started in July with it, so we'll have plenty of time to get it completed by the end of the year. The new proposal is going to save us about $36,000. There was also a monthly cost of $800 with the old system, and the new system, there's a once-a-year $2,500 cost, which keeps our software that we're going to develop the system with updated every year, and you always get all the updates, something we've never had with this system. We've always had it, had to be stuck with it forever. We will also be able to make any changes, add any sites that come along in the future too with this software. So I'm here to ask you for permission to proceed with this project. The money is in the budget under miscellaneous water projects. It was already in there, and I think it's something that we really need to go ahead and get started on.
All right, anybody?
Answer any questions?
Yeah. Any questions for Carol?
Are you going to be here?
Yes.
You will?
Yes.
So you'll be hands-on until this is complete?
I will be hands-on.
That's
Yes, sir.
good to know.
And, I have a degree in programming, so basically what we're doing, we're taking development software, we're going to create the program with the help of InstruLogix. We're going to pay them a fee, and that will help us all we need. They'll develop it all 100% if we'd like them to, but I'll be learning in the time so I can service the software also.
Well, I appreciate it because I know how much you have put into this, and it has been like a long road, and I thank you for what you
Yeah.
brought to it.
Well, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, is there a motion that that Carl proceed with this?
Make a motion that we allow him to proceed.
Okay, the motion by Commissioner Shackelford that we allow Carl to continue with this and get it installed and put us back on track where we need to be. All right, you heard the motion by Commissioner Shackelford. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. And that takes us, thank you.
Thank you, Board.
That takes,
Yes.
Mayor Evans, may I ask him a question?
yes, yes.
And David, you may help me with this too. When the company came in last month to put in the cable for the schools,
Right.
has that yard been fixed to the homeowner satisfaction?
I'm not 100%. I haven't talked to homeowners yet. The guy came in and was going to do the work, but it was so wet he couldn't do much, and he's supposed to be getting back with me.
Okay.
But I am going to personally, I've been kind of busy these last few weeks, but as soon as I get a day, I'm going to go from door to door every yard, and I'm going to talk to the homeowners, and anybody that still has a complaint, I will contact Conterra myself.
Well, I know he probably does with that one.
Yeah.
Because
So there's about
still
4 or
some
5
ruts.
sites on Main Street.
There's
Yeah,
still ruts
there's still ruts in
in
there.
his yard where they rode across.
Yes,
So,
yes, I've walked that street a couple of times and I've checked
Okay.
it, so
So
yeah.
you're going to make sure that gets taken care of?
I'm going to do it. But
Because he was very unhappy when he called me that Friday afternoon.
I understand, yeah, I will be talking to him probably this week or next
Okay,
week.
perfect.
And hopefully we'll dry out a little bit this week, so maybe they can get back in here without, because if they came in with it as wet as it was, they were just going to make a bigger mess. Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. If you need his telephone number, let me know, because I have that too.
Okay,
That first day certainly was a challenge for a lot of us.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sure it was.
Quite a challenge.
Okay, but I promise you I'll stay on top of it and
Thank you. I appreciate
and
that.
take care of it for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Carol. That concludes our decision items. We're down now to item K, citizen comments. That's again, gives you an opportunity, you don't have to sign up, but it gives you an opportunity to address this board about what you've seen or heard tonight, or anything else that is on your mind. So if you would, if anyone wants to come forward.
I'd like to first commend you. I know it took a long time, and Commissioner Moore advocated for, I believe, about 2 or 3 years or so, to finally get our meetings televised, not on the internet. I appreciate your endorsement of new media and new ways of involving citizens in this process. But I would not like to neglect the old media. Having Monday night meetings is very helpful for this to be continued in the newspaper and in print media so that people can read it on Wednesday rather than waiting a week or so. So I hope in future consideration you'll continue to have these meetings on Monday night. The second topic I'd like to talk about is why I appreciate the music on Main. I enjoyed it last time. I think it's an amazing thing that citizens get involved and take this on at no cost to the town. And while I'm not against cars, and I'm usually speaking to you about pro-sidewalk and pro-walking and biking and being active in town, whatever, it makes me concerned if we're closing off Belcher to Church, the impact on businesses in town from noon onwards. Limiting access to some people who do need to get around by motor vehicles to the post office and other places downtown, I'm just wondering in the future if we should not poll the downtown businesses and really see if this is a net positive impact on their business to close 2 blocks of our main street, or if they do lose more business than they gain. And perhaps in the future, shifting these concerts, which I think are a great thing, to a public park, town commons, or something like that. Thank you for your future consideration.
And just because it is being recorded and probably will be reported in the paper, it's really about 2/3 of a block that we're closing. It's not 2 blocks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard it was.
Well, I said that. I thought I read somewhere where they wanted to close both blocks, but it doesn't.
Chief Green can probably answer
Yeah.
that question.
The street's actually going to be closed from Wilson Street to just on the other side of Bob Proctor's business.
Okay.
So the post office will still be open, the alley will still be open, the store will still be open, all that will be open until all businesses downtown are closed in that block, and then if we need to, then we can move back.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. My misunderstanding. I thought I heard church.
Well, I did say that.
Okay. Okay, well,
I thought I
again,
read
want
it
to think about the
somewhere.
business owners downtown and making sure that business is not negatively impacted and people can still get access via motor vehicles if they need to be. If not, Farmville's a great place to walk or bike and we'll.
That's right. Get your.
I'd just like to thank the businesses downtown that are paying for those bands to come here.
Yes.
The businesses are the ones that pay for that. And to me, that pulls them right there.
Yeah.
And when you put 2,000 people on the street, on the ground, spending money, it works.
I believe it does.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? If not, I want to close with recognizing Mayor Pro Tem Shackelford for presiding over this meeting last meeting in May, and he told me it was a little tougher job than what he thought it was going to be.
Huge job. It was made for you, man.
All right, but appreciate you coming, appreciate your participation, and Board, I'll ask you, do you have any comments before we leave?
I'd just like to say, Mayor, I appreciate you bringing up that $85,000 in scholarships that year, and we're back at $7 million.
Yeah.
And I remember when people looked at us, you and I, like we had 10 heads for asking that question.
Yeah.
So you've come a long way.
I remember calling the superintendent of public school, Pitt County Schools that day, and I told him when it came out, and it really was spurred on by another community here, a school here in Pitt County that was smaller than us. It got almost $1 million. And I told him, I won't say who the superintendent is, you could probably figure it out. I said, you're the superintendent of schools in Pitt County where one got only $85,000 in scholarship money. I said, does that not bother you? And he certainly said, yes, it does bother me. And he started doing something about it. But the only thing we led in that year, John, is that we led the county in scholarships not turned down. You hear me? Scholarships not. I mean, we won't give them $500 from this place and $1,000 from that place. There was no way to turn down. And so we were 100% on that. We took every bit they gave us. All right, thank y'all, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you.